Howdy there, John Moore here, and I am a shamanic teacher and practitioner from the state of Maine. If you've watched any of my other videos, you can hear my voice sounds like this right now. I have a bit of a cold. I have taken a COVID test. It is negative, so I'm assuming for now that I don't have COVID. I don't feel that poorly, but my voice doesn't sound, or I don't know, maybe it sounds good to you. It sounds weird to me in my head. It's very deep. Anyway, I wanted to do this video, and this is a good time for this video. This is an auspicious time, me being a little under the weather, a little ill, to do this video. And this video came out of a question that somebody asked on another video. And so, yeah, if you have comments or questions, and something seems like it is, of general interest and might serve me, I might make another video to address the question that was raised. I've done this a number of other times. So I have a video out there talking about soul retrieval experience, and somebody, and I was talking specifically about different ways soul loss can happen, which is a shamanic idea, concept of what happens when we experience trauma, but there's other ways that soul loss can happen. One, through long-term drug use, but there's also something called soul stealing, where people take essences from us, sometimes unconsciously. And here's the thing, we also do this to other people, mostly unconsciously. And somebody asked me somebody was apparently aghast, or it came across this way in text. Somebody taking part of your soul, how could that even happen? We have, helping spirits and angels and devas and so many people working for us on the other side. How could this even happen? Very good question. And the answer is a little complex. And so I will try to break it down, try to simplify a little bit, but there's multiple components to the answer to this question. Do I believe we have helping spirits and guardian angels and all kinds of stuff working for us in the spirit world? Absolutely, yes. Do I believe that in many ways they serve a protective function for us? Yes, absolutely. Is that absolute? Are we absolutely protected from everything at all times? Well, look around you. Clearly the answer is no. I happen to be a little ill right now. It's inconvenient. It's not the end of the world. I'm not suffering tremendously because of this. And there are other people out there in the world who are suffering a great deal. Do they not have helping spirits? Do they not have guardian angels? Do they not have devas and, whatever else people want to name spirit helpers on the other side? And the answer to that is no. And this goes back to the age-old question, why do bad things happen to good people? So there's a couple of thoughts about this. First of all, I do subscribe to the Hermetic aphorisms, as above, so below, as within, so without. So if in this world, somebody can steal from me, if in the ordinary reality, 3D world, somebody can steal from me, somebody can cause me an injury, as has happened, then that can surely happen in the spirit world as well, right? But yeah, the idea is that I have these helping spirits, and I have a number of them. I've been practicing shamanism for a long time, and I have a practice where I do healing sessions for people who have, some sort of spiritual cause of physical illness. Coughing a lot today. So I will journey about my little illness a little bit later and see what I can do about it. But that isn't, people who do expect instantaneous miraculous healing are often disappointed, right? And so the spirit world reflects the physical world in many, many ways. Like we can, we can be injured. We can have, our soul body can receive injury. People can steal things from us. People can steal part of our soul essence. That can happen. And our helping spirits do sometimes act in a protective way. The issue comes because they don't always act in ways that we expect or want. Now, they are acting in our best interests for our highest and higher good. And I'm going to give you an example, a very personal example from my life in a moment. But that's not always what we want or expect. For example, let's say you lose a job, and that might seem like the end of the world to you, and you're stressed out, and how could this happen to me? I've been praying about this. I've been doing shamanic journeying. I've been working with my helping spirits. I've been doing this. I've been doing that. And the answer might be very complex. And it might not be something that you can necessarily grasp with human consciousness right away. And it may be something for the future. So you might lose a job because there's a better one coming, or that job is ultimately not serving you, or that job is, taking away from something. That doesn't mean having a spiritual life doesn't mean that you're never going to go through hard times. Quite the contrary. You're absolutely, I can guarantee that even with a very spiritual life, you are going to go through hard times. I guarantee it. But your helping spirits want you to evolve and adapt and make your own choices and, in general, grow and evolve. Now, we don't grow without a little bit of discomfort. Now, it's not their job to protect us from discomfort, right? From suffering, yes. Those are two different things. Suffering and discomfort are different things. I can feel pain. I can feel a little bit sick, as I do right now. I can feel congested in my chest, have a runny nose, have, sore throat, all of these things that I have. But I'm not suffering, right? I'm uncomfortable, but I'm not suffering. Suffering is about the interpretation that we put on it, okay? So, and I'm not suffering because there are certain lessons that I've learned about suffering, about not having to identify with pain, not having to identify with physical discomfort. So, your helping spirits are not necessarily going to protect you from discomfort all of the time. Maybe sometimes, right? So, when I think about my path as a shamanic practitioner and a teacher, I came into shamanism because I was trying to heal myself from severe childhood trauma that included domestic violence, child abuse, substance abuse, you name it. I had at times a pretty horrific childhood, being afraid for my life on occasion, having to flee my home with my mother and brother on occasion to save our lives. And, I completely broke down later in life. I was very ill, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, very ill. Everything was broken apart, broken down. And, I came to shamanism to heal that. And in healing that and working through that, and I will never say that my work is done. That would be hubris. In healing that, my wound has become medicine for others. Healing that wound has become a way that I help others, people heal from trauma. It is a beautiful thing that I love to do. It is beautiful to me. I'm not saying it has to be beautiful to anybody else, but to me, this is beauty. I've taken something that was horrible in my past, worked with it till I'm not suffering from it anymore, and sharing that with other people, because I'm not special and I'm not smarter than anybody else. So if I've done this, anybody else can do this too. Okay, I'm not above anybody. Wasn't born smarter than anybody, or I'm not particularly psychic or clairvoyant or any of those things. So it seems weird to say this, but I don't regret the trauma, because I wouldn't be where I am without that. I wouldn't, and I like where I am. Who knows where I would be without having gone through that horrible trauma? Was it horrible? Yes. Do I wish that trauma on anybody else on the planet? No. But this is my path. It is part of my path. Did my helping spirits put that trauma in my way? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe I chose that when I came into this life. Okay, and I had significant soul loss from that I have been, have worked through and continue to work through and will continue to work through. But a lot of it has been repaired, where I live a, quote unquote normal. I'll never live a normal life, but I live a symptom-free life. We'll put it that way, from something that, therapists and psychologists and doctors are like, there's no cure for this. You're just going to have to live with it. So again, like, I don't know the complete machinations of spirit. I can get some answers from spirit, but, at some point I trust what they're doing. I trust that the tough times I go through sometimes are important. And in shamanism, there's the idea of initiation. You might go through a ceremony of initiation. You might learn about initiation. But initiation happens through spirit. And it happens frequently through very difficult life circumstances. In many shamanic cultures, you have to have gone through an ordeal of some kind, a trauma of some kind, a crisis. It's called the Shamanic Crisis, or the shamanic illness. Is a very common concept in shamanic cultures. And in fact, in cultures where there hasn't been, the person hasn't gone through a crisis, very frequently they will cause that crisis by putting people in very, very stressful, difficult circumstances, often physically painful stuff, to force the breaking apart, the concretion of the spiritual, the soul body, right? What happens is our soul body gets very rigid and concrete, and to become what it is you are to become, it has to be broken up so you can build it back again, so it can be flexible, so it can be shaped differently, so you can experience different things. So I promised I was going to share with you an experience from my own life that will be illustrative of this thing. And this is very personal, and I'm not going to name names, but there was a period of time where I was in a relationship with another practitioner, and that relationship was fraught with conflict. This other practitioner, my personal belief is that she's unhealthy and in a lot of different ways, and wound up being quite abusive to me, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually abusive with me. And I stuck with it longer than I should have. I'm not incredibly proud of that. And we had broken up a number of times, which is, should have been a huge red flag anyway. Hey, it's a big learning experience for me, right? So there was a period of time where we had basically permanently broken up. Said, I'm not going to date this person anymore. And I received this really weird omen from spirit, and I journeyed about this, which is how we get information in shamanism. I journeyed about this omen, and this omen's, my helping spirit who I work with for omens said, this omen means that you need to reach out to this person. And I said, well, I'm not talking to this person. And they said, yeah, but this has to happen. So I reached out to this person, and we started a conversation, and then we started dating again, and then eventually we started living together. and it did not work out, and it ended horribly, and it ended dramatically, and there was threats of violence towards me. There were a lot of my things went missing. A lot of my things were damaged. There was just a lot of horrific stuff. I was severely traumatized for a long time by what happened. Now, it is tempting to go, why the heck would my helping spirits tell me that this was something that I needed to do? They very rarely want to take your free will away. And this is another part of why our helping spirits don't always intervene with us. They want us to have free will. We evolve through free will. My take on it is multiple. Like, first of all, this person acted as a tool of spirit in bringing up a lot of my old trauma. A lot of my old trauma from the domestic violence I had experienced as a child, a lot of trauma from other, stuff that had happened to me, the threats, the physical violence, all of the stuff that happened, still had not been healed for me. So it was extremely painful and horrible event that I don't ever wish to repeat again or wish on anybody else. It was important for that stuff that was still there to come up so I could work on it. The other thing was that I really recognized at that point that I had the really unhealthy boundaries with this intimate partner, and that, I do not want to have unhealthy boundaries with people anymore. And I need to do a lot of work around my boundaries and what kind of behavior I'll accept from people and what kind of relationship I want. The other aspect, when I think about, this thing that, everything that happened and the way that it occurred, was that there was a divine timing aspect to this. So, right after we broke up, I was basically thinking, you know what? Maybe I don't ever need to date anybody again. It was that bad, right? Maybe I'll just be single for the rest of my life, and that will be fine with me. I won't ever have to worry about this trauma again. But it became single at the same time as somebody else who, through just, a bunch of coincidences, synchronicities and stuff, I met and started dating, and we've been dating for quite a long time now, and she is the absolute love of my life. She is the perfect companion for me. Now, if I had continued to date this person, I would still be in a very abusive relationship. If I had broken up with her earlier, I don't know what would have happened. Like this, the timing aspect of it wasn't. Now, I do want to avoid, the flip side to this is I do want to avoid spiritual bypassing and think, that's everything happens for a reason, and things are always hunky-dory, and things are going to be great. And that means I don't take care of my stuff. I don't take care of my boundaries. That's what got me into these situations in the first place. That's where the lesson comes in. That I need to do this work. I need to take action. I need to have healthy boundaries in interpersonal relationships, particularly intimate relationships. Okay? I need to not accept certain types of behavior, and I need to take care and heal myself. That isn't to say that I'm going to welcome horrific relationships like that again. Even in friendships, I'm sort of like, no, just done. So, to break it down, why our helping spirits, our angels, our devas, or all these people are not just taking over and protecting us from everything, is that we go through this human life in order to grow, learn, and expand. And if you were to live in an idyllic world where nothing bad ever happened to anybody or anything around you, how much growth would happen from that? Zero. If you go to the gym and you lift weights and you just pick up the lightest weight they have, a 1 pound weight, and I do a single rep with that, and I put it down and I say, my workout is done. How much fitness am I going to get from that? How much muscle growth am I going to get from that? I'm certainly comfortable. I've remained comfortable. I have not put myself, I'm not even sweating here, right? That's not how we get better. That's not how we learn. That's not how we grow and evolve. And yeah, I'm not saying you have to go out and hurt yourself. That's not it at all. It's this nice balance, right? There's this nice balance. So it's a complex answer to the question of why don't these beings just take care of everything for us so that we're constantly safe and constantly spiritually protected. And there's a lot more to it than this, but that is my basic answer, is that they are protecting you a lot of the time, but that doesn't mean what you think it means, or it doesn't mean what you want it to mean a lot of the time. If what we want is to be protected from discomfort all the time, then they're not going to help you with that very much. Their job, the thing that they want for you, is to grow spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically. Okay, they want to see this evolution for you. They're working in your highest good. Your highest good, not your, man, it'd be really cool if I won the lottery today and I didn't have to work again and I could just sit by the pool all day long. Sure, that would be fantastic. But would that force you to learn anything or grow from that, or heal from trauma, or help other people heal from trauma, or any of these things that come out of challenging experiences? Okay. The one warning I will give you is, if somebody is going through a hard time, do not come to them with, well, everything happens for a reason, or, that sort of spiritual bypassing stuff. That is not helpful in that time. Somebody comes to you and says, oh, I just, had this really terrible relationship and I broke up, whatever. Your answer to that is, man, that really sucks. Man, that's awful. Not, everything's going to be perfect now. That's not helpful. Sorry to say it. That can be our first instinct, to try to take somebody's pain away. But we're not. You're not doing it. And in fact, you're hindering them from healing. Anyway, I hope that's helpful. I hope that answers that question. I can probably talk more about this in a future video if people are still interested in learning more about this. And this is just my take on it. This is just my take on why things aren't always hunky-dory down here on planet Earth or in the spirit world. With that, I will talk to you later. I hope you are well, and we'll talk to you real soon.